Who do we draft number 1 overall? I'm on the clock. Who do I need to draft overall? I'm taking a QB in Superflex. Who do I take? Or you could say number 2, and I'm taking a QB after Bijan maybe. Which quarterback flies off the board first?
I think you
Well,
got to go. Well, I'll go ahead,
go ahead,
Stream.
Mike. Go ahead. Go for it.
Dynasty,
Go
Uh,
ahead.
Dynasty
Dynasty
fantasy, Dynasty
Superflex.
fantasy.
Okay. So we're in the top 3. You have the first 2 pick. I have the third pick. If I were you, I would pick CJ Stroud, number 1. I just think he's the safest of all the quarterback prospects. He's 6'4", I believe. He's shown that he can run against Georgia. He showed that he has the ability to run and get yards if he has open space. He's super accurate. I think he will be the number 1 pick by the Panthers. I think that that's a lock in my opinion. I don't think that they're really entertaining Bryce. I think Bryce is too small. Even though he has, all the other intangibles and very accurate. I just think that if you're looking to draft someone number 1 in a dynasty superflex, you want someone that could potentially be on your team for like 10 years, and I just don't see Bryce holding up that long, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think you got to take CJ Stroud number 1.
I think you have a tough decision, Couch, honestly. CJ Stroud, yes, he's definitely everything Mike says, accurate, good size, all that stuff. First overall pick as a general manager, I'm definitely going to take Stroud because he's more of an NFL quarterback, NFL size, all of that stuff. We're talking fantasy football though, right? We did see that, on tape the other day that he was mobile, he can run around a little bit, but he's not going to get you those rushing statistics. And then also, we looked at Bryce Young compared to CJ Stroud. You never once said, and same with me, you never once kind of had that wow or whoa, that was insane moment with CJ Stroud when you kind of see that with Bryce Young, right? So the rushing ability is going to be there as well for Bryce. Only downside is that limited frame, which is a big problem. The durability is going to be a real concern. He's listed there at 5'10", 204. I know
It's
a
a
lot
lie.
of us know that the
It's just a
204 is
lie.
going to be,
Yeah.
204 is going to be a lot, but most of us know that he's probably closer to around like 190, 192, 194 at best. And that's going to be a concern. That's going to be a concern for the holdup. But I don't think it's as obvious, Mike, as you're saying with CJ Stroud. I mean, I do think that, he should be in consideration, but I don't know. It's tough. I want to know for sure which team lands who. And then let's say Houston does get Bryce Young and CJ Stroud does go to Carolina, like you were saying earlier, Mike. Let's see what Houston gets at 12, right? If they get Bryce Young, a receiver at 12, then hey, maybe all of a sudden Houston becomes a more attractive landing spot, question mark, than Carolina. I don't know, right? Both of those situations are kind of in flux right now. Just going to have to see what's going on there. But it's definitely between those 2 quarterbacks in my mind.
I didn't answer my own question. So I took the quiz 3 times. Which quarterback do I draft first in Dynasty? The first time I ran away from my problems and didn't answer. I left the quiz. I just ran out of the classroom and transferred schools. I was like, I don't got to worry about this. I was like, it's too early. Second time, my conclusion was CJ Stroud. I think he's great. I felt like I wasn't being a pussycat by taking him and not going risky with Bryce Young or super risky with AR. And then I just took the test again today, and it was very tough. I've actually been taking the test. Like it's been a 4-day test. And today I came to the conclusion again, CJ Stroud. So the landing spot probably will be better. It just everything will just, I feel like is just, for me, I think it's CJ Stroud. I think Bryce Young is going to get tossed around and hurt. Or I'm not going to go so far as saying he's going to get hurt, but he's going to get hit so hard. He's going to be flying around like a rag doll. And I don't want that. I don't think that's good. I think that's too tough. Like I think we're going too, like every quarterback doesn't have to be like Phillip Rivers. They don't have to be 6'5". They don't have to be huge. The game's always changing, evolving, getting more dynamic. We don't need a guy to be like that all the time. But Bryce Young, it's too much like a Doug Flutie or something. It's freakishly small. And I don't want that. He's going to be getting tackled by like 270-pound dudes. That's tough. It's scary to just imagine that.
Yeah, I think the reason why you have Stroud ahead of Bryce, and kind of for me as well, this is kind of like a risk-reward assessment here. I mean, look, every quarterback is going to have their risks because, I mean, they're rookie quarterbacks. Anyone can be a bust. Really, it's a true lottery type of thing with that position. But as far as the profiles go, right, there's a lot more risk with Bryce Young than there is CJ Stroud. Not my only issue, but the only reason why, like, I just can't sleep at night knowing that if I have the second overall pick, I'm going to pick CJ Stroud. It's just the low reward. I mean, I know deep down that CJ Stroud is never going to produce for me a top 5 season. I mean, I'm thinking he's going to be closer to the Kirk Cousins type as a fantasy producer than a Joe Burrow type. Just being honest with you, I don't think he's, that great. He's good for sure. He's solid. Kirk Cousins, good, solid NFL veteran. He's been a starter for so many years, a consistently good starter also. But I mean, what's the upside, right?
I think he's way more rushing upside than Kirk Cousins.
I think that's a little bit. I think you're a little too down on him. Why can't he be as good as Aaron Rodgers or Andrew Luck?
Does he have that special? Because Aaron Rodgers and Andrew Luck couch makes you go, wow. When you watch him, you say, wow. Aaron Rodgers does some things that you're just like, that is insane as a passer.
You didn't think against Georgia he had a wow factor? I think he did.
It was definitely impressive to see the rushing
thing.
It was me and Couch watched it live. I watched the game live as it happened, and then me and Couch we watched it kind of the condensed replay a few days ago. None of us walked away saying, whoa, that was nuts. I think the very last play of the reel was the only play. It was like that huge 45-yard touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone. Couch, if you remember. I think that's the only play where we both kind of eyes were wide and it was like, whoa, that's pretty good. Other than that, I mean, the wow factors are coming with Bryce Young and definitely with Anthony Richardson, as you showed with that 81-yard reel and some other stuff that he can do.
So you're saying he's too vanilla, like his ceiling isn't that high.
You really don't think Andrew Luck and Aaron Rodgers, you really think in college those two were had a much bigger wow factor than CJ Stroud?
Absolutely. I thought Aaron Rodgers at that time should have been like it should have been Alex Smith, Aaron Rodgers 1-2. Obviously, we know one of them went and then the other one fell down.
Should have been Aaron Rodgers number 1.
Yeah, I think everyone knows that.
Right? Ahead of Smith.
That's what it should have been.
With all due respect to Alex Smith, who's solid as well, but I mean that's.
He's not that great,
right?
It's not politically correct to say that because of his disgusting injury. He's a great human, and I don't think Alex Smith was.
He's fine.
Good.
He went to the
NFL
AFC
QB
champ game with the Chiefs. He's fine. He's not
bad.
Well,
it's more like he held the team back because we saw how they were after he left. They became like the hottest team in the world. That's how good that team was.
Yeah, that is true. That's another way.
Yeah, so I just speak from the truth. Like, yeah, he had a decent career. He wasn't that good. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was way better. He was a hometown kid. Like, it was just such an obvious pick, but they thought he was arrogant. He brushed off bad, and they just had bad vibes about him. But he's just a different type of dude. But I mean, it's your opinion. I think CJ Stroud could be as good as Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers. I don't think, Kirk Cousins definitely a very realistic and good outcome for him, but I do think he could be a little bit better than Kirk Cousins in fantasy.
Is there anything to be said about the fact that they're both California quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young? They're both from SoCal. They had good
the only
coaching.
thing I can say is that Bryce Young went to the notable school, and Bryce Young has been the notable guy, and all throughout high school, we all knew Bryce Young. Whereas CJ Stroud is kind of like the, I'm not saying he's like the 1-2 or whatever, but he was up there. We knew about him. He was solid.
He was a number 1 QB prospect in high school.
Bryce Young.
He won the Elite 11. No, CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud won the Elite 11?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I think Bryce Young was always rated as the top.
He's a 5-star, but
yeah,
I know Stroud was a top-rated quarterback.
We're just spoiled is the point. We're just spoiled with if CJ Stroud was coming out like last year, it would be like, oh my god,
oh yeah,
oh my god, he's like the next guy. But now it's like we have a super athletic guy who who crushed combine records. We got Bryce Young, who just popped it's like half a joke, but it's half dead serious, and whatever that's supposed to mean. My pro comp to Bryce Young is Allen Iverson. Or
Yeah,
Kyler,
you're saying this.
or
Like
Kyler.
high school Iverson.
I've heard Steph Curry. I've heard Steph Curry by some guys.
Steph Curry of the
kinda get
NFL.
You like
I get
that? Or
I
you
can see
can
it.
say
I can see
Kyler
it.
Murray if you want to, if you don't.
No,
you don't
see,
have
this guy's way better leader. I think he's just more,
okay.
like his
makes
interview
sense,
ability. Every time I see him on an interview, he's like he could be like a president. Like he's like that.
Kyler
He's like
Murray
a
is
fan
kind of
man.
weird. He's very weird.
Yeah.
Anytime you need a Call of Duty clause in your contract, like
something's
just the
wrong
guy
with you.
thinking about putting that clause in there, something's up. And they actually did put that clause originally in there, the Call of Duty clause. Like that is not what you want in your quarterback contract. Yeah,
I feel like
we
we haven't talked about Will Levis that much though. What do you guys?
We'll get
talked
Will.
about anybody.
Last thing to say, and then we'll move
on.
on.
These guys,
With Bryce Young, obviously higher upside because he is a rushing type of guy. Higher risk because he's smaller.
You saying Bryce Young is a rushing type of guy?
Yeah, for sure. Bryce Young
over CJ Stroud,
dual threat. Yes, he has. So there's a difference between being mobile and being a true dual threat quarterback, right? Anthony Richardson will get you rushing yards in a game. CJ Stroud will get you some rushing yards over the course of the season. He's not going to get you like.
I just don't think they use him like that because they couldn't afford for him to get hurt like CJ Stroud.
Yeah, no, true,
but Justin Fields like this is no. That's a garbage argument. The quarterback before that was a huge runner of the football, Justin Fields. That's no good. It's all about the skill set here. The skill set it's not there with CJ Stroud. He's mobile, fine. He's not a rushing type of.
I think he's capable of it though. Like if they have the open field in front of him, he could get those yards.
He's very capable. That's why I was talking about like Aaron Rodgers and Andrew Luck, where they didn't really do it a lot, but they're not like slow. They are capable.
I think what I'm trying to say is there's a fine line between CJ Stroud being capable at doing these types of things, whereas Bryce Young will. For sure has proven and already has done it in the stats book, these types of things. One of them is he can kind of do it. The other guy rushes with the football. Same thing with Richardson. We don't know. We're not saying Richardson could be a runner of the football. We know he is. We're saying could he be a passer? We know CJ Stroud's a passer. We're saying could he be?
I don't think Bryce is going to run in the NFL though. Like if he goes, I think he's going to have to. They're going to destroy him.
He's going to have to. He's going to have to.
I know. I'm saying if he does, it's going to be a huge target on his back. They're going to crack him as soon as he goes out there. Like,
that's the durability issue.
You know what I mean? Like he could, but if he does, that's a big risk.
If you're a linebacker, or defensive lineman, you're salivating.
He's not going to be protected as good in the NFL as he.
I think the realistic expectation, and then let's move on to the next guys after this. I think the realistic expectation should be that CJ Stroud could get you a good amount of fantasy points for the whole season, including the fantasy football playoffs, including your fantasy championship, if he can get you there, which he could. Whereas Bryce Young maybe gets you higher points on a per game basis, but by week 11, 12, 13, he's probably inactive.
Right? Can either of them be the QB1 overall in fantasy ever? Is that a possibility with either of those two?
With Bryce Young, maybe. Like he could be like by the first 8 weeks of a season, he could definitely be the top scoring quarterback. He has
in fantasy
for sure. In fantasy, yeah, for sure, because he has that legitimate rushing upside. I think it's just a matter of if you put it through the course of the whole season. I don't think he's gonna. I'm just like you.
I don't think there's any scenario where he's the number one overall QB1. Right. There's no way. Like I just don't see it. Like over Hurts and Fields, I don't see that. There's no way.
Even both of them got injured. Hurts and Fields.
That's what I'm saying. And they're big. Like Bryce Young, I mean, there's no way he's doing what they're doing.
He's got that ability. He's closer to that type of ability than Stroud. All right.
Yeah, we haven't been given too much advice, but this is the closest thing to advice I'm going to give the viewers and listeners. Just imagine Bryce Young getting hit in the NFL. One hit. Imagine that. Visualize it. Keep that in your mind and take that with you to the draft.